lot of students, and you have no idea how that makes our hearts sing. So thank you so much for being here this evening. This evening we have Pastor Patrick Martin from Russell Baptist Church to lead us in our invocation and pledge.
Let's pray. Father, these are strange days, and God, I think there was a pretty big majority of us that were looking forward to turning the page on a new year last week. But God, we are reminded that just over the events of the last few days that God, that while you alone are sovereign, we are not. And so, Father, we submit to your leadership today. God, we live in a Romans 13 world, and Father, we have the privilege of being able to pray over the elected leaders and authorities over us. Father, we know that they are in authority because you allow them to be. So, Father, we ask your blessings on this school board. God, we ask that you would empower them to make decisions that glorify you, God, that bring about the enlightenment and the education of our young ones, of the next generation that, Father, one day may be sitting in these seats. Father, we thank you for the privilege of gathering. God, may we never take it for granted. God, as we meet tonight, God, would you be glorified in what you see and what you hear tonight? If we pray these things in Jesus' name, amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Pastor Martin. Call the meeting to order for the Clay County School Board, January 7th, 2021 meeting. Welcome, citizens of Clay County. I want to take this opportunity to thank you for the time that you've taken out of your busy schedule to attend tonight's school board meeting. This meeting is our opportunity as your elected representatives to collaborate openly and make decisions that will decide the future direction of our public schools and the education of our children here in Clay County. If you wish to address the board on an agenda item, there will be an opportunity to speak for 3 minutes. Please fill out a card, which you will find located in the back of the room, indicating the specific item number or topic you wish to speak about, and turn it in promptly, please, to one of our officers that we have here, Lieutenant Mills or Chief Wagner. I don't know if, there you are, or Lieutenant Romano in the back, thank you. No additional cards will be accepted once the board moves to the public comments section under presentations from the audience. Your participation is welcomed and appreciated. We're going to begin this evening with recognitions and awards, and I'm going to call first on Superintendent Broski.
Okay, if Miss Jump, if you would come on up to the podium.
Isn't that Mrs. Howell? Thank you very much. We are going to be presenting awards to some young people in Clay County who have received the President's Volunteer Service Award. This award is recognition from the White House. It was started by President Eisenhower to recognize young people around America who had completed a significant amount of community service hours during a calendar year. And we have 5 young people in our county. I'm sure there are more, but we have 5 that we were able to recognize that have completed. The minimum requirement is 100 hours, and each of these young people has completed well over 250 hours during the last school year. And so we are going to call each of them up so that they can receive actually 2 awards, because they're being recognized by the White House and they're also being recognized by Clay County. So the first young woman is Caitlin Green. Come on up. Griffin. I am friends with Caitlin Green in my other life, so I'm thinking of her.
just feel like, we should at least do
We
it.
got you.
Mom, you can come up to the front.
Okay, I
Congratulations.
think your mom wants to take a picture. There you go.
And let's have you stand right here. We'll get a group picture of everybody.
Yes. Okay, and our second young person is Benjamin Boatwright.
I'll do a fist bump. There you go. Thank you.
Here you go, turn around there.
Turn-
Yeah,
Thank
come back over here by us.
Feel welcome to take the pictures. We believe in pictures.
There you go.
Okay, and our third young person is Reagan Elia. Okay, and Haley Alilo goes to Lake Asbury Junior High School, and they got a flat tire on the way here. So I was hoping they were going to make it in the door, but they did not. And then our last recipient is Anna Keene, who is a senior at Orange Park High School, also could not attend this evening.
Moms, feel free to come up and take another picture if you'd like. Awesome. Thank you so much. Ms. Howell, we look forward to seeing you in March, I believe, for the production at Orange Park High. Our next recognition, Ms. Pickett, if you would please come forward. Treasurer Pickett is the Director of K through 12 Academic Services.
Good evening. How's everyone doing? Good, good. So I don't know if you've ever been to an academic team match. I don't want to put you on the spot, but I've been to several, and man, I'm not very smart. That's all I got to say. So we're going to play Who's Smarter Than a Clay County Academic Team Member here. I'm going to give you a couple little questions of examples that these amazing students can answer. Okay? I couldn't. I just sat there most of the time. I think I knew one answer. Probably I've got one answer right. But so question, which one of the following four authors was known for his metaphysical poetry? John Donne, John Milton, Ben Jonson, or Jonathan Swift? I don't know. One of the four. Yes. How about this? When Al, and these, oh, they answered these like, boom, quickly. Yeah. When Al and Betty play chess, experience has shown that Betty wins 60% of the time. 2 3-decimal places determine the probability that Betty will win at least one game if they play 3 times. Dr. Legatko, you got that? Exactly. Need to call somebody. Which island governed by Denmark will finally live up to its name after year 3000 if, as scientists predicted, its ice sheets melt from greenhouse warming? Greenland. Those are the questions. Those are just a couple of examples of what these amazing students do at these academic matches. They are just amazing. I'm just dumbfounded every time I watch them, and we were so excited that we were able to have it this year. We were a little worried, but Mr. Remsen and Fleming Island did a great job of securing this area, and they were able to hold all their matches right here. We didn't necessarily have as many spectators as normal, but it was still the opportunity for them to participate and show their intelligence and show what great students we have. So at this time, I'm going to bring up Mr. Kenneth Remsen. He is our district academic coach, and he's going to do our recognitions. Come on, Mr. Remsen.
Yes, and, give me a quick second, Ken. Yeah, you're fine, and, Mrs. Miller's gonna help out as well. So we got- Thank you, sir. Good evening, esteemed board. I'm really excited to be here tonight, and, first thing I would like to say is thank you. Thank you for letting us, continue with, putting on the academic team. It means a lot to these students, as, Mrs. Pickett so accurately described as amazing. And also like it, to thank you that you have shared your place, your facility with us, because that made all the difference in the world. And I really appreciate you opening that up and letting us schedule it on the calendar. We were actually able to hold all but one of the matches in this very room, and it worked out fantastic, specifically with regard to social distancing and keeping everybody safe and healthy. And then we also did another tournament in the cafeteria here. And we've discovered there were some benefits to that. So again, I want to thank you. But with that, without further ado, I'd like to go ahead and start bringing up the folks that I'm so excited that you're allowing us to recognize today. And I'm going to go ahead and start with the junior high school academic team champions. And so if you'll just come right on up, I'm going to bring you up, Ashlyn Ambergy.
What team was this?
This is for Lake Asbury Junior High. And then Charlotte Guggen. Okay. Dylan Coggins. Okay. Lily Phillips. Here's Lily. Mossy Zori. Prisha Dobby. Riley Chapman. Tyler Collins. Ward Parker. And Coach Rodriguez, if you could come down, that would be fantastic. Come on down. All right. Ready? And we're just missing?
Charlotte.
Okay.
Want to give it to the coach?
I'll give it to the coach. All right. Mr. Brodsky, would you mind joining us for a photo?
Announce again, this is the team championship. I don't think they heard you. The
Okay,
team,
no,
this is the team that won.
All right, thank you very much. And let me explain, this is Lake Asbury Junior High, and they're the county champions of all the other 7 teams in the county. So I'm very, very excited for them. And also that they will in the future, hopefully someday, it's been a very interesting circumstance trying to secure a trophy, but that will be happening, and I'll catch up with the coaches when that happens. All right, so next up, I've got the winners of junior varsity high school champions. So these were the winning team out of the 6. So here we go. We'll start with Audrey Freehafer, Bayan Mahmoudi, Brady White, Ethan Tang, Grace Pierce, Hayden Patalinghug. How did I do? Okay. There you go. All right. Jennifer Zhang. Okay. Most valuable player, William Hughes. Zainab Faraj. Okay, and then Coach Gardner. Okay.
You didn't say what school.
Oh, I'm sorry, Fleming Island. Maybe that's why Coach Gardner won't come up. All right, I don't know. I didn't mention the school. Anyway, Fleming Island High School. All right, next in the high school varsity category, the champions were Oak Leaf High School. And I'd like to start off with Andrew Bevis. Caden Henderson. Another Henderson, Chloe Dupree. Jaron Johnson. Joe Antonacci. Juliana Lee. Larissa Fung. Lily Justice. Maggie Davis. And Tara Mahmood. That's Tara's. And then Ty Villa Alone. There we go.
Coach Martin.
And Coach Martin, come on down.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. You'll never see him.
All right. The next step, as you know, every year the players compete in the county matches, and then from that group we select a very select group of students to go to state, which is usually held every year. That's called the Commissioner's Academic Challenge at Walt Disney World, and obviously that's not happening for obvious reasons. So that's why I wanted to still go ahead and put a team together. These members were chosen by the coaches of each of the teams, so we have one player representing each school. So I will get started with that. Let's see what we have here, and we're ready with Lucas Schreiber. Lucas.
Are you gonna announce the schools?
Huh?
Are you gonna announce the school they're from?
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. So Lucas is from, well, I don't have that. Do I have that on here? No, you're all together. Do we know Lucas? Is Lucas here? No Lucas. But what school is Lucas from?
Oh, Clay. I think he's from Clay.
No, not Clay. He's from Fleming. Okay, so, okay, very good. And then I've got Nicole Lunsford. From Ridgefield. After they make all county, they're just all county to me, you know, I don't, they lose their individual identity. Okay, Darby Mason. Darby Orange Park. Yeah, just curious. Emma Glazner. She's good. From Clay. From Clay High. Emma Howell. Okay, there's Emma. And then coming back for another picture, Joe Antonacci. Okay. All right. Is that everyone? Okay. All right, our success, I've got just one more. Our success, of course, has been dependent upon many people other than just myself, so I had a couple of special shout-outs. And the first person that I'd like to shout out, he was not able to be here because he's watching his young children, and that's Mr. Joel Miller. He was the one who set up all of our video. And so I think you might be interested to know that I gave him the official Cecil B. DeMille Award, okay? And his wife, Julie Miller, will be accepting. You're welcome, and don't go away. Mrs. Miller's not going to go away because I'm also giving her a certificate of appreciation because she keeps me out of trouble, and that's a really tall order, big job, and I definitely appreciate her assistance all this year. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, and what an awesome group of students. Thank you all for being here tonight. I know you want to stay for the meeting. Mr. Fossa has a presentation planned about boundaries, and it's going to be fascinating. But knowing that you are all incredibly intelligent young people, you may leave if you need to, and I'm sure you've got some homework to do somewhere. So welcome back to school. Good luck with the end of your semester, and best wishes for successful finals. Thank you all for being here this evening.
Boy, Miss Bola, you know how to clear a room.
I do know how to clear a room. That's right. Ms. Bullock, I should have made him stay for your presentation. I apologize. Ms. Bullock, would you like to go to the podium, please? Recognition of Orange Park Art Guild.
Thank you. I'm going to take this off so I can see, breathe, and everything else. First of all, I know you've heard the old saying that a picture is worth 1,000 words, and in most cases that's true. You know, in the 80s when the Vietnam Memorial was established, somebody sent me a picture, and I remember thinking, well, how nice it was. But when I went to Washington and I saw all those names etched in one right after another of all those soldiers who had given up their life for me and for everybody else, I was overcome with emotion. And so recently I received this picture, and it's a mural, and it's on the side of a building on Palmer and 17. If you have not seen it, you need to see it in person because the picture does not do it justice. And so when I went to that spot and I saw those, and I was, again, like I was when I saw the Vietnam Memorial the first time, overcome with emotion. You see, my dad was a World War II veteran, and I have his dog tags with me in my hand. And he was also a retired firefighter, and I have his badge with me as well tonight. And I inquired about this group that had done this, and I found out it was the Orange Park Art Guild. And at this time, I would like those representatives of that group to come forward. I know we have several of them. We have Lori Butler, who is our art enrichment teacher here in Clay County. We have Jim and Kathy Signorelli, Allison McCauley, Andrea Sabilla, Kathy Plant, Sophie Dare, and Beth Haslip. I hope I haven't let anybody off. Did I get you all here? So who?
I'm not sure. The wall was sponsored by St. Michael's Soldiers, which
Right.
is a charity.
Yes.
And this is Kathy Signorelli. They're the founders of that charity.
Thank you so much. I mean, I was so touched by that, and if you haven't gone to see it, you need to. So at this time, I have two. For the first one, of course, is to the gentleman who donated the building, Mr. Cheney, Rusty Cheney. So we did so you'll make sure that he gets that. And then also to the Orange Park Art Guild, we have also and for whoever you think. And then for all the artists, my granddaughter, thank goodness I have artists in my family because I am not terrible. She has done the Golden Paintbrush Awards for everybody. So I'm going to.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so you have several golden paintbrushes. And would someone like to come up and tell us about the inspiration about the actual building? Because I know, do your best, I know. Thank you. Because there was an inspiration behind it, I know.
Well, the initial idea of the mural, Sophie had done a mural previously down in Green Cove, and she reached out to my husband and I about doing another mural. And our original idea was just a mural with a troop and it be nothing specific. But the three of us met down in Spring Park Coffee, and over a cup of coffee, it turned from a flag and wings to a generic troop to Jeremy, Bradley, Benjamin, and Rex. I'm personally friends with the three families of the gentlemen that lost their lives due to the work they did for us. And I got this suggestion of the Rex from my friend at Clay County Sheriff's Office. But we had the dream, she had the vision, and they had the talent to bring together what you see there. So, you're welcome.
Well, also, what's not shown in this picture is at the last minute, we were talking about the flag post and how great it would be to have something on top. And so the Signorellis were able to find a 200-pound eagle and got it to Mr. Cheney, and he lifted it up, or actually had a guy from Clay Electric in a bucket lift, put it on the roof, and they tethered it up on the roof. So you can see that right when you're entering Green Cove now, up on the top.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
We are going to have a dedication. We don't have the date yet, but I'll make certain that you guys know whenever
send
we
it out,
do.
make sure we-
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you
for
so
this.
much.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. And again, if you haven't seen it in person, you need to make sure you pull your car out there, stop, and look, because it is so impressive. And I'd like to thank Michael Kirkus, who created the little certificates that we did. He did a great job in the IT department for putting this up there for us to all see as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Ladies, before you leave, could you get a picture with Mrs. Bullock? Nicole, would you do a picture?
Thank you, Mrs. Bullock, for bringing this to our attention and for recognizing the Art Guild for this. It is a beautiful mural, absolutely gorgeous.
Hopefully it'll bring you some. You were to see me, me on the same road.
Ask Nathan if he can put the picture back up.
Okay. I'm the short person. I could be over the way.
There we go. All right. 1, 2, 3. I don't know why I smile.
I know, it's a natural thing.
Because it shows in your eyes.
Just
Thank you.
happens.
Smiling eyes.
Thank you, ladies, appreciate it.
Thank you again for all that you do. And Ms. Butler, thank you for continuing the program with the students. We appreciate it. And our next presenter, Mr. Fossa, when you get done cleaning up, you are on deck, ready to go.
Well, good evening, everyone, and Happy New Year. At first, I was wondering about this. Is actually a pretty exciting time for Clay County. It really is. I just got off a call with Green Cove Springs, and they're putting 2,700 new homes, and Green Cove's going to annex it into the city of Green Cove. I was totally unaware of this until yesterday, and we sat down on a conference call, and D.R. Horton's going to be building out there. So everything that we've been talking about before, going to add 2,700 new homes too. So that's about 500 and something new kids, and they're going to give us a school site. So I'm pretty psyched about that as well. So what I want to talk about here is our sort of a needs assessment for our boundary realignment discussion that we're going to have. And we looked at, we're just going to kind of focus on Oakleaf High School. We're going to focus on Lake Asbury Junior. We're going to look at a few elementary schools, and then we're also going to talk a little bit about elementary school, because if you remember, elementary school is in our approved 5-year educational facilities plan. All right. This is a bit of an eye chart, and this is actually looking at Clay County, and you're seeing all of the high school attendance boundaries. So we put a little slide off to the left-hand side, kind of showing you what all of their capacities are right now. And the one that I really want to focus on is right here, Oakleaf High School at 106% capacity. The way we come up with that number is we look at the FISH, which is the Florida Inventory of Schoolhouses number that says how many seats you have. We use that as the denominator. And then as the numerator, we use the amount of students that are actually at the school. So in this case here, the students that are at the school outnumber the amount of seats that we have there. And this is sort of focusing in a little bit more on what's going on at the Oakleaf area. And all of these geometric shapes or these circles or whatever they are, and their numbers are actually developments that are being built now or have gone through the Development Review Committee for Clay County. So these neighborhoods are coming. If we look at the capacity for Oakleaf High School, it's at about 2,459. And there's, like I said, the numerator is a bigger number than the denominator there. I'm a math teacher, so I'm sorry if I throw that out there every now and then. Currently we're at 106%, I'm projecting about 230 new students with all this growth. If we do nothing, Oakleaf High School is going to go to 115% and continue to grow. And these are all of the different neighborhoods right now that are out there. So I really think we need to look at that. And as promised, I said I was going to take a look at the junior high piece. And in the middle, this big splotch sort of in the middle is Lake Asbury Junior's attendance boundary. It's a fairly good size one. To the north is Lakeside, and to the west is Wilkinson, and then you can see Green Cove over here, and then of course Oakleaf Junior and Orange Park right in here. And again, in this little slide, we went ahead and put all the different percents of capacity. And I do want to point out Lake Asbury. We're looking at 83%. You say, hey, Jim, that's not too bad. That's 83%. You got room there. But there's an ESC factor that we're not including. And what happens is, according to FISH, which is, again, the Florida Inventory of Schoolhouses, each classroom could be 20 or 25 or 23 or 25. They may or may not be using that many students in there. And because there's an awful large ESC population at Lake Asbury, they're not. So you'll have a room that's supposed to have 25 kids in it, but you may have a classroom in there that's like an EBD class and there's only 5. So it looks like there's actually 20 more seats multiply that by 5 or 6 classes that are like that. So they have an artificially low number. So I talked with Mr. Jones, and we talked with the state. Violet Brown came over the other day, and she is the senior director for facilities, and she sat with us, and we went through some of these numbers, and she's going to help us with it. And she said, you really need to show what this number really is. So the real number is about 88% capacity. And that number kind of scares me a little bit because of all the growth that's coming in. This is more of a look at the north part of the boundary. And I did want to point out that just a little for wayfinding, here's Blanding Boulevard. This is County Road 220, and this is the Black Creek. And you can see that Lake Asbury Junior's attendance boundary skips right over the Black Creek and runs all the way up to County Road 220. So we went ahead and we moved some of that geometry down over the Lake Asbury attendance area, and this is all the new neighborhoods that are planned to come into Lake Asbury. There's a lot. This green is the new expressway, and you can kind of see that all these neighborhoods are just following right along with this new expressway. If you've been out on 208 Russell Road, you can see there's a new sign saying, coming in the fall of 2021 is going to be Avalonia Hills. So it's there. It's this guy right here, number 7. Annabelle Island, Phase 1. If we do nothing to Lake Asbury and don't address the possible growth there, they're going to go to 113%. But remember, we've got that ESE factor. So if I add the ESE factor, it takes it all the way to 117%. So we really need to look at that. Attendance boundaries for the elementaries, more colors because there's a lot more of them. But I didn't show them all. I just showed the ones that I thought were fairly interesting and needed to be looked at. Tynes and Keystone Heights, of course. We're looking at Patterson. Discovery Oaks, our newest school, is already at 100% capacity. I just want to point out what the coast everybody recognizes this piece of land mass. It's Fleming Island, and you can literally stand on the corner there and be in 3 different school zones. You could stand right here on the corner of 220 and 17 and be in Fleming Islands, Pattersons, and Thunderbolts. Looking at the Patterson right now is about their capacity. They're at 104%. Again, their numerator is bigger than their denominator. If we do nothing, they're going to go to 121%. These are the neighborhoods that are being built or on the books that are getting ready to be in the Patterson's attendance zone. And this is them kind of outlined. You can see where they are. The weird thing about Patterson is it reaches all the way down into Green Cove, crosses over Black Creek, and all the way west, or this is Magnolia right here, Magnolia Point, and then Magnolia West over here. Number 5 is a large new neighborhood coming in, Willow Springs. If you drive out there, you'll be surprised. Did you see those houses popping up? And my wife has a teacher friend who's very excited because she's having a house built out there. And I said, no, they're not building yet. She goes, oh, yeah, they are. We went out. Yep, they're there.
Mr. Foster, why would we bus them to Patterson and not Thunderbolt or Fleming Island?
Because right now that district, because
These
there's
3
no.
on the other side
yes.
of Black Creek.
These kids, this one here, 5, because there's no houses there, I was able to take that group and point them to Thunderbolt. So when they come online, they will be going to Thunderbolt. Mm-hmm. So I'm not affecting any kids now because there's nobody there. These kids aren't there. This will be the only school they know.
Right.
So I just wanted to let you know.
What about the neighborhoods of Magnolia West, Phase 3 and 4?
They're
Willow
well
Springs?
underway. This number 3 is well underway. And if you go through there, you'll see there's quite a few homes in there.
Right.
Yeah.
My question is, why aren't we busing them to Fleming Island Elementary instead of Patterson? Because we know we have capacity at Fleming Island Elementary.
That would require us a board action to go ahead and do that.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And we can discuss that at a upcoming workshop that's also open to the public. Again, I just kind of want to show you the geometry here, or the geography of it. Again, on the left, you see Fleming Island itself, and then you see the entire district. And right here, Ms. Carey, you can see how the color's a little different for that one there. It matches Thunderbolt. So just like you said, we're going to go ahead and send these guys to Thunderbolt. Now, we're going to look at Tynes, and Tynes is over, you can see it's kind of bounded by the north, of course, by Oakleaf, and by the east, right along Route 21, and then to the west by Jennings State Forest, and then kind of the reaches of the northern part of Middleburg. It's a very big school zone. This right here is actually Route 23, which is the expressway, and their boundary reaches across that. So it's a large boundary. And there it is right there. And fun fact, we actually own some property right about here. There's about 20 acres that the district has as well. And the geometry for this, you can see all of the different yellow circles and numbers. These are all the developments, again, that have been approved or actually are being built right now in the area. And you can see none of them are over in any of the other areas. They're all in Tynes's attendance zone. And if you look at Tynes's capacity, they're 1,004, and right now you can see that they are over as well. I'm projecting about 158 more students because some of these are coming to their build out. If we do nothing, the status quo, Tynes will continue growing and will go to 118%. Not the situation that we want to be in. But like I said, it's an exciting time. These are all new folks that are coming to Clay County, and that's what we want. That's in the business we're in. We're in the business of teaching kids. People want to be here. If they weren't, we were talking again to the state, and some of the districts are closing schools, and we're not in that situation. And we're very lucky to be that way. She told us that St. Johns County is going to be building 26 new schools in the next 5 years. 26. We said, what? She goes, yep, 26. That's why she was over here. She was over there meeting with them, and then she came by and talked with us for a little bit. 26, Dr. Legato. So let's talk a little bit, again, this is what I do want to show you what this area here, because this is really where all the growth is. If you remember earlier, I was showing you the Lake Asbury growth. Here it is. These are all the developments that are on this lake area. All these little dots here, I have a program that I use that puts a latitude and longitude on every student, and every one of these little green dots is a student. And you can see how they kind of cluster around the county. This is a great program that we have. It's very powerful. I could actually circle an area and find out what the breakdown is all the way from PK all the way up to high school. It's a really neat program. It allows us to do some pretty good stuff. So what I wanted to show in this particular slide is that if we, with School R, which I want to remind you that it is on the 5-year plan and the educational facilities plan being built, it's got a capacity of about 862. We haven't come up with an attendance boundary yet, and that again will be something that we would work with in the public workshop coming up. But these are all the neighborhoods that all in here. 2785 new homes, 585 new students. And oh, by the way, the phone call I was on tonight was right in here. And I remember there's a DRI down here, which is Governor's Park, which is another 5,000 to 6,000 kids. And this is another group that's right in here. It's the old Gustafson Dairy property in there. I was very happy when he said, "Oh, Mr. Fossa, would you guys like a school site in there?" Yeah.
Circle where the location of School R is going to be. Is that on 315?
I'm sorry, it's right there. So this is 315. You know where the silos are? If you go in the back way to Clay High, it's right here. And it's a 20-acre square, pretty much right out there in that pasture land. Yep. And this is another fun fact. Right there is Shadow Lawn, and this dotted line is going to be a road that's going to come right out of the entrance of Shadow Lawn all the way over to the new expressway, and then eventually it's going to come all the way over to 17, so you'll be able to drive all the way across the county without having to go down and around or up and over. It'll be straight across. And that is number 8, and that is where Reinhold North is going to be. And then, of course, Reinhold owns all this land in here as well. I'm sorry if I'm rambling, but this is kind of cool stuff. I'm a little geeked out on this kind of stuff because it's kind of neat. Okay, so the way forward. Board workshop coming up. It's going to be a public meeting, of course. We can present, examine, and develop options to remedy the current boundary problems and alignments. And I'm excited about that because I think we're going to make some real good headway there and get a lot of input. We'll talk about the high school, the junior high, the elementary. We'll develop community communication plan. There's a lot of good stuff coming up here. Super good time for me. And any questions? I figured I'd end with a puppy because, puppies are always good, so. there
You
we
trying
go.
to soften us?
No, trying to soften you up. Yes, ma'am.
I do have a question.
Yes.
About midway, the slide that says elementary school attendance boundaries current.
Sure, I'll go back to that.
Go back to that slide.
Right here?
That one right there.
Okay.
And if you see Keystone Heights
I
Elementary, it
do
has
see Keystone.
110%.
Yes, ma'am.
More than anybody else, but I didn't see a plan in there for that one.
Right now, we've talked about Keystone, and again, that is something that is kind of near and dear to me. But going through Clay County's DRCs, there's no planned development in there, but it's coming because if you saw what
But it's
Clay
already at
County's doing,
110%.
right, I get that. Yes,
So
ma'am.
that's what
Yeah.
it's there now.
But I also want to let you know that Clay County has changed their they have a new mobility fee. So you know how we have an impact fee? The county used to have an impact fee. Well, they got rid of it. And what they have now is a mobility fee. And they charge mobility with, roads or bike pass or walking pass or whatever. They've lowered the mobility fee in that area to like $600 per house. But if you want to build in Lake Asbury, it's like $7,000 or $8,000. So that's going to push more folks, I think, more developers into looking into that area down there. So we definitely have to address that.
So which is even more reason why we need to be looking for something to address since already at 110%.
Yes, ma'am. I agree.
Thank you.
Well, and what's the high school at there? Because they have that high school, junior high issue where, they need the junior high. So what's the capacity at the
So the
junior,
high
senior?
school, yes, ma'am, is at about 82%.
And
Okay,
that's
with
a
a little bit of
combination
room
of the
there.
junior,
But there's a combination there, you're right. And there could be a little bit of a factor in there as well. Because Fish basically says, you've got this room, there's supposed to be that many kids in there. And the principals use their schools how they're supposed to, as they should.
Mm-hmm.
So I get in a little bit of discussion with them sometimes. And I don't have this room. I go, well, you got this room and this room and this room. What are you using that for? So I
Mr.
get
Bassett,
that.
is sixth grade located at the elementary school?
Yes.
Yes,
And see,
yes,
it would
we
be
do
coming
K
away
through
from there. That would
6.
be a help to it. If they made it like a middle school or something to that effect, it would help.
Now,
both of
remember,
those.
we consciously made that decision that we wanted to have junior highs. And the last one to go was Oakleaf Junior High. It was a 6, 7, 8.
Right.
And then we went ahead and put the sixth grade back to OVE.
We had to do that to prevent redistricting up there in Oakland.
Right,
That's why we
yes.
did what
That
we did
school
there.
was busting at the seams
Right.
and, with
So I
with
guess to
tears in
Ms.
their
Bullock's
eyes.
point is,
We're at that capacity already there and over. It's the most of all those schools that you just listed.
it seems like we're ignoring that problem.
Exactly.
And we're only focusing on potential new growth coming in,
Well,
which I know is not potential.
it's not potential.
You know that's there.
Yes, ma'am.
But we have an issue already that's been in existence. And what is the plan? What do we have that we're going to do about that? How do we get it in the timeline and moved up?
Well, that's something we can definitely discuss at the next public workshop. I'm not prepared to do that now. I apologize for that.
No, that's okay. I just put it on your radar so
Yes, ma'am.
it's
Thank
an
you.
issue. Yeah, thank you.
So this was just a wave top brief, just kind of looking at all the wave tops. There's a lot we can dive deeper as well when we do that. So I'm, again, looking forward to that meeting.
On your last page, you had developed community
puppy.
communication plans. Well, not the puppy, but for the puppy. And what do you have in mind? Because I think the community definitely needs to be involved, be aware of what's taking place, because, this is their neighborhood.
Yep. So we're going to we're kind of sort of modeling after what St. John's, we met with them. We went over and toured one of their K-8s. And their person who's me over there, she does all this. And they go out with their plan and they go ahead and they talk to the community about it. And so we're going to sort of mirror what they're doing.
Good.
So I'm excited. She's a really good person to talk with. She's really super smart and very excited to work with her too.
All right. Well, I think that's really important. So thank you for putting this in here and going forward with it.
Yes, ma'am.
Thanks.
Do we have any of those meetings scheduled yet, Mr. Pasa?
We do not.
Okay. But you'll be scheduling those?
Yes. Yeah, we have definitely have a time where I need to get those done.
And then we'll be able to get the information out to the community?
Yep.
so
And hear what
they
they
know.
have to say too, because that's important.
We've got our next workshop set up so that we have the opportunity to dig deeper into this
Yes, ma'am.
and have the opportunity then to, and those are always published, those are always on YouTube, so people can watch what we're saying, doing, whatever. It's all transparent.
Yep.
It's not something that we're trying to move boundaries without anybody knowing. We're going to take this, we can't go too slowly because obviously we are looking at next year's class. But we have to move steadily.
We do, and
And with
I had a
thought.
meeting with the head custodians the other day. One of my other hats I wear is custodial oversight. And so when they all came back from break, we had a head custodian meeting over at Rideout. And I was talking to the head custodian from Oak Leaf High School, and she's like, we've got almost 400 kids coming back.
Oh,
So, yeah.
So
Yes.
I have a question. When I see on here where you have the current and then I'm going to use the Oak Leaf High School slide, for example.
Let me slide
But you
back
did
that way
it,
so you can
did
see
it for
it.
every one of them, where you have the current and then the projected if we don't do anything. So I know we're not getting into the weeds here, but just something that's kind of churning in my mind as we're looking into workshops and information that we'll be considering at that point. One of the things I'd like to know is the time frame for that projected growth. So because as I'm thinking about possible boundary realignment, in an ideal world, I wouldn't want to affect 5th and 6th grade. I wouldn't want to affect 8th grade. I wouldn't want to affect 11th and 12th grade. If we can do, like Ms. Bola said, a slow and steady approach, I think that would be the most appealing option to everybody that's affected by it.
Sure.
But, again, I think we need to know how quickly are we growing.
Well, again, I wish I could answer that. In my previous slide before puppies, I had a crystal ball, which I don't have anymore. So if you look at number 9 here, as a matter of fact, sorry, that wasn't even anything that was remotely thought about. Then I got a call 2 weeks ago and say, hey, we're down here in Orlando and we're looking at Fox Meadow Unit A. We just bought it. And we want to know if the concurrency is ready to go. And I'm like, let me look. So I went back and looked, and sure enough, we had done a concurrency letter on them, but we had heard that this wasn't going to be done for a very long time. Just sold it, ready to go.
yep.
Same thing with,
Could you just borrow Dr. Legutko's no button?
well, I can't
slow
say
button.
no.
No.
we have to keep that?
You
I
have
agree with
said
Ms.
no.
Gilhousen. The ones that you do have dates on that when the
Yes.
projected, starting to build or, whatever dates you have, if
Sure.
you could get us the list, next to each one of those developments, put the date, start date, and estimated complete date, that would help us.
I'll do my best. Like number 5, as a matter of
up to the
fact,
builders.
the one that right here that's going to be going to Thunderbolt this time last year.
Right.
Nope. And then all of a sudden, D.R. Horton says, we're buying it, we're building. It can go that fast. And case in point, like what happened today with Green Cove. I had no idea that anybody was even looking at that property. And now they're going forward with it.
Mr. Pasa, we need to add to that. It's wonderful that they're giving us the space for the school, but then they need to build it as well. All right, that would be nice. Just saying, just saying.
While we're asking for
While you're
favors,
asking, sure.
No, I
don't they
know
want
this
one
is
that'll match the community with all the right paint?
There you go.
That's right.
There you
Let's-
go.
I'll do my best. Okay, so pending any questions, I'll go back to the puppies because I think they're kind of cute. There he is.
You're trying to soften us again. I like it.
Okay. Thank you guys very much for giving me the opportunity to kind of show you what I do. It's
Thank
exciting.
you. Thank you for all that information. It'll keep us sleepless for a while, Mr. Fossa. Thanks a lot. Yeah.
Better go ahead and clear out the capacity in your inbox.
Yeah. Yeah. We don't have a school showcase tonight, although we sort of did with all of our stellar academia students. Golly, the questions that Ms. Pickett asked were like,
Yeah, really.
yo, right over my head. No, she
No,
didn't
you
tell
would
us the
Google.
answers, so we'll be Googling some stuff later this evening. Any idea of when we might end up getting school showcases and some school student presentations back?
Oh, man, I've been waiting
You don't have a crystal ball, is what you're saying. Got it. Thank you. Thank you. This is the last call for comment cards. I have not received any comment cards. I don't see anyone running to any of our law enforcement officers with comment cards. So I am going to assume that there are no comments for this evening. Is that correct? Got it. We'll move on to the consent agenda at this point. Hang on. We had one item withdrawn from the consent agenda, that was C8, and at this time I'll entertain a motion for approval.
I'll move approval.
Ms. Kirkus? Is there a second?
I'll second.
I have a question as to why was C8 removed?
We received that information from Ms. Honora.
I don't believe there was any allocation changes.
There were no
Oh,
allocation changes,
okay.
that's right.
Very good.
This was a first, and we were also forewarned that with the change in our student attendance population from brick and mortar to, or from online, probably more likely to brick and mortar, we will probably have many allocation changes for C8 or whatever number that happens to be the next time around. Any other discussion? It's been moved by Ms. Kirkus and second by Mrs. Gilhausen. All in favor? It signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries unanimously. Very good. Ms. Kidwell, would you come up and give us a CCA update, please? And thank you. Thank you for being here this evening. It's always good to see you.
No.
Okay,
Is it turned on? Now, can you hear me?
yes.
Wow. It was a great break. It was good to get away. Unplug, I turned the phone off and I set it in the other room. I hope you all were able to do that too. It's been a little stressful. And then we're back and I just feel it's just, the stress is all just right here all over again. And the events, the recent events have kept me up at night. And not the first chaos we've had in our country this year, all the way through 2020. I was hoping 2021 was going to get better. But you know, words, they have power to unite or divide, to enlighten or obscure. And today we have to face our tomorrow leaders, our children. And they're going to look at us adults that they trust with their questions and their concerns, and how are we going to explain to them the chaos and the lawlessness of our country's recent events? And no matter your political label, violence should make us step back and reevaluate our course. We can all do more to promote civility, tolerance, compromise, and unity as the one United States of America. I, like many of you, have had sleepless nights and anxiety that is a near constant presence. I hope you can take time to reflect and pray, and that we all can find some peace and feel empowered to give reassurance to those in need and affirm the strength of our democracy. I'm praying for our country, as I know many of you are. May we know what it means to really love our neighbors. I want to express my appreciation for the school board and for the superintendent. I value deeply the continued collaboration we have together. It's a beacon in these hard times, and I want to thank you for that. We don't always agree, but we're committed to moving forward toward our common goals, and that's everything. That's a lesson for our country. I've reached out to all of you, and I want to thank you for listening and recognizing the difficulty that the expiration of the COVID leave bill has thrust upon our teachers. It's presented a terrible burden to them in an already burdensome time. We don't know when our educators will be offered the vaccine, and you understood that when I spoke to you. You understood the risks that they continue to be undertaking, and I thank you for your willingness to listen and act on their behalf. I'm grateful for the mutual respect, compassion, and desire to reach compromise that we have. This school year seems to present one hurdle after another, but I am confident that we will overcome each one because we will work together for our common good, a lesson for our country, our district, and our families and our world. Thank you.
Thank you, Vicki. Mr. Roberts? Come on down. Thank you for providing our CESPA update.
Good evening. Name is Lonnie Roberts. I'm president of CESPA. Vicki said a lot, and she basically stole part of my thunder. I had to pull over to the side of the road and look at what was going on. I'm a 60s baby, and I tell you, I've been through a lot in my time growing up. Being told no, being told that I wasn't smart, being told that you can't go here and you can't go there. I would never in my lifetime growing up, going through history and see exactly what I saw yesterday. I had to collect myself. And it's been a while since I've felt that way in a long, long time. I mean, I can go all the way back to 60s, 70s, looking at everything, my cousin going to Vietnam, and feeling how I felt back then. I still carry those. Being in the Navy, going to different places and dropping bombs here, dropping bombs there, not even having no more than about 3 hours of sleep. But I had to pull over to the side of the road yesterday and I had to collect myself before doing some other work. I received phone calls. I haven't been a counselor since about 3 years after the Navy. People calling, people wanting to receive help. The majority of them just wanted to talk because COVID, for one, they're going through some things, their family, and then now we have the Capitol, people busting windows, people rushing in. 4 phone calls to me as the president of CESPA, and I have to immediately try to see exactly what's going on, because if I just say no to one phone call for something like that, who knows what's going to happen on the other end of that phone call? And in the Navy, we, especially in these times back then, during the holiday season, if you miss the phone call, the majority of the time, you never know if somebody's going to commit suicide. And that's how I felt yesterday about the Capitol. And I still feel that way today. Very disappointed, disheartened, overwhelmed. And those phone calls yesterday just took me to another level, and I had to go home and rest myself, rest my head. And it took me a while to go to sleep, and I only got like 3 hours of sleep last night. So with all that being said, I'm glad to be back. Glad to see everybody else made it back. The majority of my CESPA members I've seen, talked to, they're all done with the holiday season, and they were glad to be back also. With the governor, with this extended, what the heck is it called again? COVID leave, where does, and the employer doesn't have to pay for this COVID leave, where does the district stand? I mean, I probably could have got the answer from you today, but it just reminded me just as I was sitting there. We have people worried about that. I've already got, phone calls from before the season break, but now, where do we stand now? And I'll probably get the answer later on, but I had to ask the question. I'm very lost for words right now. I know. I'm just gonna go into some good stuff now. Before the break, the district and CESPA came to a tentative agreement on our contract. Yay, team. And our members are very happy. And on behalf of 1,700 employees, your support employees, I'd like to say thank you. I'm pretty sure they say thank you. Thank you in advance for voting on this tonight. And tomorrow, starting at 7 o'clock in the morning till 5 in the afternoon, all the high schools will be open for voting for CESPA contract. Out there in Keystone, it'll be till 4:30. We thank you. It is a well-deserved. We thank you also for the insurance also. That's a big plus because now that they get a raise, they don't have to think about trying to pay that with the insurance. Like I said, on behalf of everybody in CESPA, we are very glad that you heard us. We feel the love now. All of your support employees, they feel it because it was straight across the board. And they're just happy about it. And we thank you for all the stuff that you did to move things around in order to make this happen. And with that note, thank you very much for listening to my rant. And I'm gonna go sit down. Have a good evening.
Thank you. And thanks for all that you do, Mr. Roberts. It's greatly appreciated. Next, we have our superintendent's update. Mr. Bosky?
So first of all, I'd like to also thank the board and recognize the board for the tremendous work when it comes to the 2 contracts for our employees. I'd also like to thank Dr. Legutko, for all of her work involved in that. As a former HR person, that's right up my wheelhouse, and I'm just so appreciative and just working in a district where employees feel valued makes all the difference in the world when it comes to their morale when they come to work and all those kinds of things. And what better year than this year to really work on that. And so very, very thankful to the board. You guys have done a tremendous job with that. Vicki, you're right. We don't always agree, but at least we talk all the time. In fact, I probably talk to you more than I talk to Sue. I hate to say that. I think Sue's out there watching right now. But we care and we want to do a good job for everybody. And it all goes down to the students, but it's the employees that make that happen. And so we appreciate that. And Lonnie, all your efforts also. So tonight I got a couple of topics for you. Graduation rates were just released like at 2 o'clock today. Okay, our tools for school ribbon cutting, upcoming events, COVID-19 reminders. Can't go a presentation without that. And then second semester. So graduation rates, I got big news. 93.4, which would be the highest graduation rate ever in Clay County history. So congratulations out there. That's a lot of hard work from our teachers, our coaches, all of those folks out there. So congratulations. So the highest ever at 93.4, an increase of 8.7 from 2015 to now. We're in the top 10. In fact, we're 6th out of 67 counties in graduation rate. And we outpaced the state. We'll delve into some of the other data points because it was released at 2 o'clock. We hadn't had the opportunity to do that. But there's a lot of other points of pride when it comes to graduation rate that I would point out. How we do with our African American students in closing the achievement gap is outstanding, and some other data points that I'm sure I figure I can probably bring that one up again next month when we celebrate the Tools for Schools ribbon cutting ceremony. I saw Miss Clark there, and it was a great event. And what a great idea that now you open up essentially a store for teachers to get free supplies. One of the things that always amazed me about teachers and all of our employees is their care for students and how they would often buy things out of their own pocket for students. And so you can see a couple pictures up there. It's a really nice, portable. The teachers that were there for the event, went in and they just had a field day. It was a great event. I want to thank the Bailey Group as well as our other donors. I think Home Depot and Office Depot, et cetera, for doing that. Of course, the foundation for their leadership on that. Great little event. We have our Apple Awards, we're calling them, which is our Teacher of the Year, our Support-Related Employee of the Year. Thursday, January 28th, we'll be doing some videotaping and some other stuff here in the near future. There are 5 finalists for both support and also instructional. We put out an email just prior to break, but you can never celebrate too much the accomplishments of our employees. So we look forward to that. Be a little different this year, of course, being virtual, but it's been a different kind of year, to say the least. Literacy Week is January 25th through 29th. The theme is Humanity Tells a Story. What's your chapter? And you can see all the events that are going to go on that week relative to literacy. There's no doubt when you're talking about an educational institution such as Clay County District Schools, literacy is the cornerstone, the foundation, the very foundation of all learning occurs through literacy. And so we're looking forward to celebrating it that week. We should celebrate it every week, but special events that week. When it comes to literacy. Oops. National School Choice Week is that same week, and so that's the week that we'll also be promoting through our social media all of our accelerated programs, Montessori Art, our various academies, controlled open enrollment.
Can I ask a quick
cetera.
question on that
Sure.
side? I've already been contacted by families who are eager to get into schools of choice, and they were wondering when the district would publish a list of schools that have capacity.
In the near future, we'll put that. One of the things that we're grappling with is that the talk that we've had today about growth and then getting us to that point, right? Because then controlled open enrollment, though that would change depending on the board's decision related to that. So
maybe later this year than previous years?
later this year than in previous years, for
Okay,
sure.
so we're
And
looking at
more
April.
info to come.
Okay, all right. Because normally we publish that in March, right?
Yes.
Okay, but it'll be after March?
Yes.
Okay, they just didn't want to miss the deadline, that was all.
No, we'll make sure we advertise it out to everybody.
Thank you.
Okay, just a couple of reminders. Cold flu season as well is here, right? And so if you're sick, please stay home. That's step one. If anyone in your home is showing signs of COVID-19, is awaiting test results, please do not come to work if you're an employee, or send your children to school. I think a lot of times people feel like they're going to miss something, so they send them or they go to work themselves. As we begin the second semester on the 20th, all of the policies that have been in place relative to safety and that are in the Smart Restart Plan are still in place at this point. If you watch the news, there's always the talk of a surge after the holidays, in this particular time frame. We just haven't reached a point. We evaluate that all the time, and hopefully we're going to see improvement in the very near future relative to the vaccine and others, and then we'll readdress those things. But now's not the time to readdress at this point. Second semester, we got approximately almost 4,000 students coming back on January 20th. So January 20th is the date that students would be coming back. Normally, the first semester ends right before Christmas, but with the movement of the whole calendar back, that kind of created the oddity of the way that it's done this year. So at the end of all of this, and I don't have this information, but I believe it to be true, that we have one of the highest in the state of brick and mortar population. We'll be up to 90% brick and mortar once we come back. And so that's an indication of what our parents desire for their students. It also is an indication that we're doing a decent job in the mitigation of the virus to begin with. And so I want to encourage everybody, a renewed effort in that regard is appropriate. It's been successful, and we need to continue. So some of the events coming up, the end of the second grading period is the 15th, and then Martin Luther King Day is the holiday, the 18th. It's a planning day on the 19th. The 20th starts the second semester, and then the 25th, those report cards will be out there. And I just want to again thank the board, for the 2 contracts that have come forward, and it's really great that we value our employees. I know you all do, but I want to publicly recognize you for all of your efforts. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Broski. In our discussion items under D1, we have our 2021 legislative priorities. Do I hear a motion to accept?
I'll move approval.
Second.
Ms. Karakis moves approval, and Ms. Bullock seconded the motion. Is there any discussion?
I'll just say thank you to staff for making the changes that we requested last month and bringing it back.
Absolutely.
Appreciate
And just to comment on this, I went to the legislative delegation meeting yesterday afternoon and spoke briefly. I didn't have anything planned because I wasn't certain if we were going to be there. Didn't get an invitation, so I was curious about, anyway. Moving on, I mentioned that I was not giving them our legislative priorities at that meeting because we had not approved them, and that we will be sending them, we'll be mailing them to each of them with a note following up. So just so you're aware of that, when they are approved. So any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Ayes have it, and it's unanimously approved. There are no human resources actions, special actions, so we don't need to deal with that. And for D3, the RFP to be awarded. Do I hear a motion?
I need to state my conflict, so I
thank
will
you, Ms.
not, I will be
Gilhousen.
abstaining from this vote.
Thank you, Ms. Gilhousen. You gave the proper paperwork to
I did,
Mr.
I've turned
Bickner.
it in,
Thank
and
you.
it's the same item from last meeting.
Yes. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Ms. Clark has moved for approval. Is there a second? I guess it's a moot point. Since there is no second, this RFP to be awarded is not passed then. Is that correct? It fails. Thank you. Mr. Bickner, attorney comments?
I do have one that I need to bring to your attention. The school board set a workshop about 2 weeks ago, and they set it for January the 12th, I think at 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Correct.
At the first of this week, it was published that you could, or it may have been the end of last week, it was published that you could sign up and get a COVID vaccination sometime during the month of January. So when I went online and I pulled that up after getting that notice, I had one choice and one choice only, and it is January the 12th at 2:45. So I went ahead and signed up for that. My choice is do not get vaccinated and attend a workshop, or go get vaccinated and come in late if I can get back in time. Depends on whether or not they let me go after I have the shot. I assume I have to sit for 15 minutes to make sure I don't die.
That's my understanding as well, by the
So
way.
I just
Yes.
need to let you know that it's unlikely that I will be at the workshop. I've discussed and linked with Mr. Broski the things that need to go on. I don't know that there are going to be any decisions made. There can't be because it's a workshop. I don't know that there's anything that you will need a lawyer to do other than sit there and nod his head. And so if there's something that someone needs to talk to me about ahead of time, I would appreciate it if you would call me and let me know. Otherwise, I will do my best to get there, but I will probably be late. I will get there early to get my shot, but if they don't let me in,
What time is your shot, did you say?
it's supposed to be 2:45. I'm going to
They-
go there.
They
I'm
let
gonna
us
go-
in when I went early. I was about 15 minutes early, and they let me in with a friend that also came, and they were very quick and thorough, just so you know, they have it down to a science.
I'm going to be like a stray dog. I'm going to be at the door at 2:00. So
And Mrs. Bola, one of my comments for tonight was about the workshop. I was going to recommend that we push it back in case there are parents in the community that would like to come. 2:00 is when kids are getting out of elementary school. So I don't know if the board wants to consider changing the time to later in the evening. It's just, that was going to be my suggestion, so.
published for time certain. It's been published for a time certain. I don't think you can move it without moving the meeting and re-advertising it.
Well, we could re-advertise just on our website and the courthouse steps, correct? Do we
You
have to
can
have
do
a
a special
reason?
meeting under special circumstances, and you have to 48 hours notice to do that. But I haven't looked to see whether or not I'm of the opinion that you could do that with this particular meeting.
With
It
the
is a workshop.
Yeah, it's a workshop, yeah.
So it's possible, but again, if you're going to do that, you need to, 48 hours, you're going to have to cancel a meeting, and then 48 hours you're going to have in advance of a new meeting time. So you can't just
Yeah,
wipe it off the map and at the last second.
and there's not enough time to advertise, I understand.
If you do it 48 hours, you can do it by publication on the courthouse door, or the courthouse beside the door inside, they have a place to publish it. And then you can publish it on the front door of the building.
But in
And
order
also
to-
put it on the website.
In order to do the 48 hours, we have to have, does it have to be some kind of an emergency? And this
Well,
doesn't fall under
It
that.
depends on the circumstances, really. Let me see what I can tell you. One zero zero 13721. It's going to take me a minute.
And again, that's only if the board wants to do it. I'm just thinking, 2:00 is when parents picking up their children or at work.
You speaking to me?
I was just speaking in general.
It says in 1001.372 subparagraph 1, under regular and special meetings, district school board, let's see, according to a schedule arranged by the district school board, not less than one regular meeting, and shall convene in special session when called by the district school superintendent or by the district school superintendent on the request of the chair, or on request of the majority of the members of the school board, providing actions taken at a special meeting shall have the same force and effect as if taken at a regular meeting. Well, it doesn't have to be a special meeting, it's going to be a workshop, but that's still a special meeting if you're doing it on short order. And then you go to 120.81 subparagraph 1, or subparagraph J, and it says the agenda for a special meeting of a district school board under authority of 1001.372 subparagraph 1 shall be prepared for the calling of the meeting, but not less than 48 hours prior to the meeting. And then the rules for publication are as I've set out. 48 hours ahead of time, you have to publish it on the website, you have to post it at the courthouse, and my recommendation has always been to post it on the front door of the school board building. It's easy enough to do, but you have to make a decision to do it, and somebody has to make the decision to get an agenda ready and publish the cancellation 48 hours ahead of time, which would be tomorrow at 2 o'clock is your cutoff. And then you'd have to do the other 48 hours ahead of whenever you choose to reset it to. So can it be done? Yes, it can be done.
Well, and like
But
I said,
again, the
it's just
reason
if
that
the
we
board wants
set,
to.
I think the reason that things were set kind of in the way they were set was because of the timetables that Mr. Brodsky looked at and I looked at and we brought up with Ms. Honora. If you're going to make a decision by March when you have your cutoff for your, or when you have your change for your allocations, if you're going to make a decision that's going to affect that,
Right.
it's better to be done sooner rather than later, and that's why it was done. Now, can we do it later on in the week? Can you do it the first part of next week? It's entirely up to the board. My only conflict at all,
I remember when we were scheduling, that was the day that worked with everyone. You
Right.
had something, there were things in the morning, so I'm not asking us to switch the date.
Yeah.
And like I said, I was just thinking if there was a way to push it back later in the day for parents to come that might be working or picking up their children, but if not, 2 o'clock, we're set, I'm fine with that.
So I'm understanding we can't change the time, is that correct?
well, again, you've got the question of a special meeting. So if you cancel a special meeting that's set for 2 o'clock, if you cancel a meeting that's set for 2 o'clock, 48 hours ahead of time, and then move the meeting back to a later time, 48 hours ahead of time, do I think you can do that? It's squirrely, but I think there's nothing in the rules that say you can't. It's just got to meet the requirements of the Administrative Procedures Act, and I think under 120.81 it does that.
Mr. Bickner, can we just get a yes or no?
I think I just gave you one.
That was a yes. He could post it on the courthouse doors of the
I think you can
website.
do it, but it's,
Yes.
it's,
Squirrely.
It's squirrely. Yes, but squirrely. Got it.
it's odd. Is that a better word? But yes,
Is
you
it
can do
legal?
that.
Are we legal?
It's legal, but I think you can do it, but I can't think of a time that it's ever been done. Where you've canceled one, moved it back for, I don't know, what do you want, move it to 4:30 or something? I don't
I
know.
was thinking later in the day where parents, if they've picked up children or getting off of work, 4:30, 5 o'clock.
Well, I think,
Then we'd end up talking about 6 o'clock in the evening.
That was just
If we're
my
going to
thought.
serve the
is
public.
it still
we
going
want
to be
do it
at
as in the evening.
the,
And we don't even know, maybe nobody will come, but I think when people start hearing that we're talking about, changing the boundary lines and rezoning, I think parents are going to pay attention, are going to want to hear the presentation and see it, and I know it will be on the backup, correct? Mr. Fossa? Your presentation with all the maps will be on the backup for our agenda workshop, correct? Yeah, so it'll be there, but they're a little hard to understand unless you have someone really explaining them. So that's just my thought. But like I said,
I'm fine with moving it. I'm available anytime that afternoon or evening. But I think we could keep in mind that this is just a workshop. No decisions are being made. So
This
the
is-
presentation, they could watch
right.
live stream.
it virtually.
Yeah, I mean, and
So-
we're always available by phone and email if
Right.
there's input they want to give. So I think I understand your point, and I think it's important we do get public input before we make a decision.
Right.
But no decisions are being made at that meeting.
So give me the timeline, Mr. Brodsky, of what Mr. Bickner just said. We want something on our agenda in March. What exactly do we want on the March agenda?
It would have to be advertised, whatever that is. It would have to be advertised at least 28 days in advance, which
Yes.
brought it back to,
has to be published 28 days in advance.
that was
Yes.
January
what?
26th.
I
What was the
don't
date?
know. I didn't bring that calendar that we
Yeah.
had created.
Whatever the other meeting is, I think it was the 26th.
We would have to have a public hearing on the 4th, at our February 4th meeting, and going back from that.
Let me stop. Is the public hearing on a change, like you're wanting us to vote on changing the boundary lines, on redistricting at the February meeting,
It would be at the March,
the March meeting?
at the March
So
meeting.
when are we going to do the community?
You have
meet
to
and
set
greets
the
and
public
involvement?
hearing at the February meeting.
Well,
for
once we have the workshop, we'll know better what direction the board would like to take.
Because we haven't even discussed
But it
all of the
sounds like you're
potential
wanting us to make a
changes.
decision without going out and doing those listen and learns with the community.
Well, I think the point of reaching out to the community is once we have a plan, then solicit input on our plan. So we need a workshop to have a plan to present.
I
to the
understand
public.
all that.
Well, the plan, okay, and the
And I
workshop.
understand the reason why is for the allocations. Believe me,
No,
I know what we're talking
oh, no.
about.
No, I understand that.
I'm
I was just, I think when we were talking about the timing, and correct me if I'm wrong, the timing we had discussed that we needed a workshop to discuss the potential changes, because these are not in stone by any means.
Right.
These are the potential changes. After the agenda workshop on the 26th of January, we were talking about a meeting a special meeting to determine what would put, and here again, I'm going to use the word potential, the potential zoning changes. So that at that point, it gives us the opportunity to have the workshop. It then gives us the opportunity for 2 weeks between that workshop and the 26th to digest what we are coming up with, come up with a zoning revision plan on the 26th. And the public hearing is on the 4th.
That's the date that you would set a public hearing
Set the public hearing.
for the March date.
Thank
You
you.
have to do
That's-
it because you have to do it in time that she can talk to them on a Monday so that it'll come out on a Thursday.
Right.
And so that next Monday would be, and I don't have all that right here in front of me, but that's the timing issue.
Okay, now, as we set the public hearing, we have the opportunity then for the entire month of February to discuss with the community.
Yes.
So technically, we have from now, I would say after our workshop on the 12th, but we have from that point to the March 4th workshop to discuss those options that we're discussing, those potential changes.
Is that when the public hearing is set, is for March the 4th, or would it be set for the later date for the meeting?
I thought that we had talked about March the 4th because we
Okay.
would need to make
Yes.
changes.
Is it enough days because February being a shorter month? So
That-
there
and it would be
need to a special
28
meeting
days.
in March.
It's
That's why the
28,
January
30,
date's
yeah.
important.
It's,
So that
yes.
it
And then when
covers
would you
It
bring
would just be
allocations to
28
us?
days. I'm
2
sorry.
weeks into March at
So we'll have a
another
special
special.
meeting for
we'd have set-
allocations.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the only way to get it done under these timeframes.
Okay, looking at a calendar and talking to Ms. Honora, her understanding was the plan was going to be adopted on the 26th so that it can be
Advertise.
taken to the newspaper for advertising on February the 1st. It would then come out and be advertised on February the 4th, which gives you 1, 2, 3, exactly 28 days before the March meeting on March the 4th.
So you're wanting us to choose a plan on January 26th and adopt it. So January 26th will be a special meeting?
You'd have to do a special.
That was
meeting.
a special meeting that was scheduled after the agenda workshop.
Right.
Thank you.
And we'll be adopting a rezoning plan.
Now, all of that is if you have to do this before you do the allocations in March, which is, I think, that was the driving wheel when we had that discussion.
All right, thank you.
So somebody, if you want to change the time of this meeting on Tuesday, someone needs to let us know.
2 o'clock's probably
That's fine.
fine if we're gonna, then have another afterwards. And like Ms. Gilhousen said, people can watch it and see the presentation, and then I'm sure we'll get some emails about it.
Okay,
So let's just leave it at 2 then. So we'll miss you, Mr. Bickner.
thank you.
He'll be there.
Your arm will be sore for 2 days, let me just tell you that up front.
I should say congratulations on getting an appointment. That was tough for many people. Yeah. All right, any other school attorney remarks, Mr. Bickner? Awesome. Let's start with Ms. Kirkus this evening.
Well, haven't I said enough already? Well, that about the scheduling was one of my comments. And the other thing, I just jotted down a few things about the graduation rate. Congratulations to Clay County, to our teachers, our students. our parents, our entire district, because that's amazing that we're doing as well as we are. And I'm so proud of each and every one of them, especially considering the end of last school year and what our students dealt with, March 13th, all of a sudden, there's everybody's virtual learning, and to improve our graduation rate like that was just amazing. So I'm really proud of them all. Actually, other than that, I don't really have anything. So thank you.
Ms. Clark?
Don't really have anything to discuss right now. I'm just kind of working in the shadows and trying to put some things together.
Ms. Gilhousen?
I had a conversation with the chair from the county commission, and he asked me who our appointee was from the board, and I couldn't remember.
Ms. Clark, if I'm not mistaken.
Ms. Clark, okay.
Right.
Because while we're talking about redistricting, the conversation I had with him was that with the census, there will be potential boundary changes for districts with the county commission and potentially with the school board seats as well. So that was something that he felt like would be a good idea for us to be collaborative about. So I don't know what that would look like, if it's a workshop or if it's, we have our designee work with their designee, but
How does that happen in the past?
Okay,
That was
so
10
how
years
that-
ago that we did
So how
it.
that works is every 10 years when they do a census, that we then have to look at the lines, and it's based on where we all live. And so, Mr. Fossa, this is probably falling on you, or Ms. Ellis, it'll fall on your department, but one of you will bring our current lines to us and the student population in each, and it has to be evenly distributed. So they may have to just distribute, change a line here or there. It doesn't affect our community or our students at all. It's just the boundaries of,
the school
like,
board
take
member
District 1.
districts,
It
right.
used to be, it stopped at Highway 17. And 10 years ago when we did it, we said we're going to mirror what the county commission has. And so we added all of that Pine Avenue from Doctors Lake Bridge to Black Creek's Bridge. Of course, then the county commission flipped theirs, and so we don't mirror. But the goal was at the time that District 1 for school board and District 1 for county commission would be identical.
Right.
So that's kind of how it works, but that falls under Ms. Ellis's department.
Okay.
She'll bring to us our current lines, and she'll look at what needs to be tweaked and where. They cannot draw it and draw you out of your district.
Right,
So you
right,
will
right.
still be in your district.
Right.
And it's something we'll have to look at. They'll probably bring us a couple of different plans and choices. And I believe there's a date by when it has to be done. Miss Ellis, do you know anything about this?
I do not know. I'll have to look into it.
Well, I just know.
Phil, do you know anything about it? Does this fall under you?
Doesn't fall on me. We're coming out with a planner, yes. There's a date certain, but you've got plenty of time.
Yeah, it's sometime like in the summer. I want to say we start looking at it like June, July.
Of this
It's
year?
sometime, it is this year, and it'll be sometime in the summer.
Well, I just think it's important to me. I've had so many conversations with community members. There's always confusion about whose district am I in? Why is it different between the county commission and the school board? So I want us to be user-friendly.
Right.
So I think if we can coordinate between the school board and the county commission, that would be a step in the right direction.
It should probably be a staff member and not a board member handling it, because we all do vote on it. We have to
Right.
vote on it. So it wouldn't be right to ask our board member to be facilitating it when staff would handle it, so.
Sure, no, and that's why I wanted to talk to you guys about it and see what the right way forward is. But
Yeah.
the goal is
Yeah.
just that we work together. So
Yeah.
however that needs to happen.
And it would be nice if we did have mirroring districts,
Right.
because
It
it makes
would
it
make
easier for
sense.
the community.
I
Even the
agree.
numbers.
But you
Yeah.
know,
I mean, 'cause the numbers are all
politics gets in the
different as
middle of
well.
it, and politics plays a game, and somebody's got some master plan, and next thing you know, things are different, so.
I just think it would be so convenient for residents to have one central location where they can click on a map and see exactly who their representatives are, whether it's county commission, school board, your house rep, your senator, all of that should be readily available and easy to find.
And you know, at one point in time, the chamber had that, and they have a new resident packet that they handed out, had everything in it. I don't know if they still do or not, but they did have that, your boundary lines and all of that for
I
on
know we don't
everything.
develop maps.
I know.
But what we can do, I think, is help
Right.
our, District 1 is District 1, whether it's county commission or school board, it's District 1,
Right, and that's how, that was our goal the last time, and that's why we actually chose District 1 the way we did, because it's what the county commissioners had. And it was like all of a sudden, they had another meeting, and day or two before ours, on that Tuesday.
They changed it.
And they changed theirs, but we just went ahead and went with, because the guidelines say you follow major bodies of water, major throughways, highways. And so really, according to the guidelines, for District 1 to go all the way to the water made sense. But the reason it was the way it was because Mrs. Studdard and Mrs. Valancourt lived so close together.
Right.
They were like, maybe 2 miles apart, that they had to then draw it the way they did, so that they had the same number of student population in each, because it has to be distributed evenly. I can't have 5,000 kids and you have, 55,000 kids.
Well, with all the growth that's coming, I mean, I think it's a lot to plan for, and we get another stab at it, so.
Yes, we do. We're going to. Anyway, that's good that you brought that up. Yes, we do need to be looking at it, so. Ms.
Very
Ellis,
good.
probably put that on your radar. Anyway, thank you.
Ms. Fossa has it, Mr. Fossa. Will probably be in tune with that and his other responsibilities. Thank you. Any other comments?
That's all I have.
Ms. Bullock?
Thank you. I was fortunate to attend the AMI graduation. We had 4 students who actually completed the program, and a couple actually graduated. One was a Keystone High School student, so I was very grateful to see that. Several of us went to the Bannerman Learning Center luncheon, and one of the questions that I believe you asked Ms. Gilhausen to Mr. McKinney as we were sitting down and eating lunch ourselves, what was your wish list? And I'll never forget, because I was so shocked. I mean, here's a guy who's a former principal of a worked at a high school, now he's at Bannerman, and the number one thing he said was he wanted tricycles. And so I remember thinking, oh my gosh, out of all the things he could ask for, of course, then he asked for a track, but we said no. But anyway, as I was driving home, when I live in Keystone, I get a long drive home. I get to think a lot of things. So I thought, I work with a lot of groups that, with holiday helpers and all that. And so I put out some little emails, and every one of them responded back to me. And one of them said, how much are tricycles? I said, I don't know. It's been 40 years since I bought a tricycle or more. And anyway, this person said, well, they're about $75 a piece. And I said, okay. And she said, I'm going to write you a check for $300. And then another person had a Schwinn tricycle. I didn't even know they had Schwinn tricycles, but they do. And it was brand new. And so that got donated as well. I took them to Mr. McKinney, along with a lot of other presents and things that this group donated. So thank you for asking the question, and I was grateful that my groups were able to help. I went to adult and community ed graduation, and I went to a Keystone Heights High School band concert, and I saw a Christmas parade where I got to announce winners, and we had our ROTC from Keystone won an award, and so did our band. So anyway, it was a very nice time during December or so.
Thank you. It's interesting, thinking back to December, it seems so long ago.
Yeah.
And so much has happened over the last month and a half, whatever. One of the highlights, though, definitely the graduations, most definitely. It was a treat to be at Orange Park High for the adult ed graduation from age 16 to 60, if I recall correctly.
Correct.
Another plus, number of spelling bees. The next spelling bee, the county spelling bee, I believe, is coming up on February 2nd, if I'm not mistaken. And it'll be at Lake Asbury Junior High. And we have a Bannerman graduation coming up January 21st. We don't want to forget that either. But delivering the flowers to the top 5 Teacher of the Year and School-Related Employees of the Year, whoa. What a treat. That was an ultimate high, because those people are so gifted, yet so humble. They were just like, me? Seriously? I mean, it was truly an emotional experience for all of us in many ways. We will be going through the interviews coming up soon, so we're looking forward to having the opportunity to talk with each of the teachers of the year individually and get to know them better. And a reminder that the Apple Awards are coming up January 28th, and a special shout out and thank you to Action News Jax, who's going to be helping us with that evening. They're going to make it very special. They're doing a special program or a special news announcement afterwards. It's my understanding, and Nicole can correct me on all of my names, Facebook Live, the One Clay, Twitter, tweeting, everything else, it's going to be out there. It's my understanding. Got it. All right, good. We've got that covered. Wasn't able to be at the ribbon cutting for the teacher depot, but it's my understanding that close to 300 teachers came through that day. And it started at around 3 because there was, even though it was a day without students, it was an in-service day. And they had moved that time back so that we could service as many teachers as we possibly could. And I was told that it wasn't, people didn't clump up. It was handled very professionally, and people came through and got all sorts of great things for themselves. So with that being said, I want to encourage everyone to have a happy and healthy new year. I know that the year started off poorly in so many ways. Thank you for your comments tonight, Vicki and Lonnie. They were very heartfelt, and you know that each and every one of us are thinking along those same lines with you. It's very hard to look at our country right now, but we have to hope for the best. We have to have faith that we will overcome all of this and be the great country that we are. At the end of the week in my classroom, I used to tell my students as they left for the weekend to make certain that they did 2 things for me. And so I will encourage each and every one of you to do this as well. The first thing I want you to do is read. And the second thing I want you to do is have fun. The meeting is adjourned.